You know, if I was a smart man, I would probably stop the truck before stopping and restarting a new video, which hopefully I've done successfully, not erase the last story I was telling y'all. If I did, you'll catch back up with it. Just remind me to tell you the whole story about my tattoo on my neck. Anyway, let's see. I've had some pretty interesting times. I mean, I've lived a life. I have. I mean, I ain't a 34-year-old. Just turned 34 the other day. But, I mean, I've done a little traveling in my early 20s, late, 19, 20, 21. I worked down the road, traveled like in Indiana and Wisconsin, Arkansas, Texas, a little in Oklahoma, up and down through there, been through Missouri, Illinois, I done millwrighting work there, made good money at it. I think once I topped out journeyman millwright at the time, it was like $26, $27 an hour. I mean, I made good money, but, I was stupid and young and liked to drink and party and, went to strip clubs and, being stupid, young, and having a pocket full of money and going to a strip club does not bode well for you. Let me tell you. So don't do it. If you're stupid and young and dumb and like to party and have any money, just stay away from strip clubs. They're bad news. God, I would love to have the money. I pissed away doing stuff like that. But, hey, you live and you learn, then you get loved, right? Let's see, I done the millwrighting gig for, 2.5 years or so. Started in February of 02. I guess it wasn't quite 2.5 years, year and a half, 2 years. Started in like February of 02. Worked up until July of 02. I think it's actually July 12th, I remembered. We went down to Texas. There's a town called Midlothian, Texas. It's just kind of right outside of Dallas. First night on the job, they put me on graveyard or whatever. I've never been on graveyard up until that point. Wasn't too bad, I mean. But first night, we went in the control box there and ate dinner. We was up on top of the melting pots, doing some motor alignments and things like that. It was a steel mill shutdown. And some of the guys that worked there told us a story about how a few years back, one of the hangers on the crane that picked up the melting pots had broke and spilled the molten metal into the control room and killed like 5 employees. I mean, they were like roasting them or something. And I was like, wow, that's that's good to hear over lunch. And then we go back out and we have to take some floor plates off because they had some motor and gearboxes underneath the floor plates and needed, alignment and attention to make sure, nothing else, preventative maintenance check to check them out. Make sure the couplings didn't have too much slack, whatever have you. And, this other kid, I call him a kid, he was a year or two younger than me, but, he was really new to it. He was still a helper, and I'd been into it for, 6 or 8 months. Plus, I took a course on it down at Elizabethan Technologies millwright class for a whole year. It was an 8-hour day, full-time technical college course. So, so I had some experience in doing a few things. We, I know how to flag a crane and stuff like that. Anyway, the floor plate comes up in a bind, and it kind of kicks out, starts swinging wild. It's just floor plate, weighs 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 pounds, whatever. It ain't huge. It's 4 foot by 8 foot by 1 inch thick. And, I was like, hey, flag this crane and I'll kind of, lay hands on it and get this under control right quick. And he's like, okay. And he keeps telling the guy to bring it up. And it's still swinging. I'm trying to control it. And it kind of swings up towards my chin because it's about chin high. And the guy wasn't looking above. I'm not blaming the dude. He didn't know what was going on, I guess, or whatever. But he wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And he let the hook on the headache ball hook a structural I-beam overhead. And it was an overhead crane, you know, just run along rails on the ceiling. But, you know, probably 35-ton crane. I don't remember all the specifics like that. But anyway, the hooked that I-beam and it snapped the cable. And when it snapped the cable, well, that plate fell. And it fell on my right foot and smashed it. I mean, it smashed every bone in my right foot. I mean, I've got a scar. It's like that big round on top of it. It kind of looks like Mr. Deeds. I mean, the folks, my crew on millwright and stuff, they called me Mr. Deeds from then on because my foot turned black and blue and still kind of looks like that. It looks a little bit better now, but that laid me up for like 6 months. I mean, it just obliterated my damn foot. They couldn't do no reconstructive surgery. They said if they did, that it would, all the tissue, because it suffered such trauma, would be like jello and it would just pour out, and then they'd have to amputate my foot. And I was like, well, you know what, we'll just leave the fella there and see what he does. You know, I ain't getting rid of my damn foot. You know, the fella served me good for 21 years. Let's keep him a while. That's what I think. But long story short, you know, I was out for 6 months. The doctors told me I'd never walk again without a cane or a limp. And I don't know, I guess me being the dumb old country fella that I am, oh sorry, hit a little ice there on this little back road. The dumb old country boy that I am, kind of hard-headed, well, I said, we'll see about that. And within 2 weeks, I throwed my crutches in the back of my pickup. Now, the only time I used them is once a week whenever I went to the physical therapist, which was pretty cool. The physical therapist they sent me to my work was the physical therapist for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I had to spend like 2 weeks in the hospital in Midlothian, Baylor Medical. They found some weird stuff wrong with my blood platelets. They thought I might have had leukemia. They done tests. Either way, they never did figure out why. My blood platelets just down to nothing sometimes, and sometimes like, hey, you know, we're pretty good. But either way, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of problems out of that foot. I walk on the side of it, kind of, wear shoes out quick, but you know, I get around. If I wasn't so fat, I could still run, because I've run on it after I've heard it playing basketball and stuff when I was in a little better shape. So, you know, pissing y'all doctors, I'm not, you know, I made it through it. I'm not crippled up like you thought yet, but I think it's having more repercussions on me. Once again, there's another little tidbit about me, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just throwing stuff out there, and half these videos may not make it. You know, my wife might look at them and said, "You're stupid." No, but I'll go ahead and stop this one where it's at, and try to go on, carry on. The show must go on, I guess, right? All right, bye.